G'day everyone, Gareth here from Fraser Coast Food Forest. It's been a long time between videos, so I thought I'd better get out here and do one. It's been super busy and honestly I really haven't had much time. Just work, and then also we finally got these trees taken out. So as you can see, kept a few of these palms in here, but all that was covered. All that area up here was all palm trees. We've had them all removed. All this is now opened up down here. A lot more area to plant some trees. But the reason for the video is this video is going to be a vegetable garden video, because I've started growing my own vegetables now. It took a while to get it all started, but I didn't really want to do a video until it's sort of established a bit, so you sort of get an idea of what it'll look like. Again, it's only half of the veggies I want to be growing, but I'm going to wait until next season when the mangoes have all fruited, and then I can cut back the mango tree and get some more vegetable raised garden beds going. So I'll take you over and we'll go have a look. I'll turn around and just quickly show you these trees that are gone as well, because there was a lot. So all this was covered all along the side of the house here. It was all these palm trees, and it just, in the afternoon, this was all complete shade from these palm trees. And then over the side of the house over here, along the fence line over there, so that fence, that grey fence in the distance there, is the other side of that is the neighbour's pool. And we had a heap of palms along there, and a big, I don't even know what the tree was here, it went over the shed and everything. And he was getting no sunlight at all pretty much for the whole day because of them, and of course all the fronds were falling into his pool, so we got all those removed. I kept all the mulch. A lot of you will know that I love my mulch. You can never have too much of it, but I think in this case I'll show you the pile. Doesn't look that big there. It's actually settled down a bit, because this pile was way taller than me, but it's settled down a bit. But it is so hot in there. If you dig your hand in there, you can't get your hand in there, it's that hot. But believe it or not, over there is taller than me, but it goes along here all the way around to the back. Around here you can sort of get an idea on how much mulch I got here. But not only that, it comes out again this way as well. I've got all this here, all the way over to here. Now the truck, if they really fill it to the brim, which is what they were doing, there's a lot of spillage because they overfilled it, and it was sort of just falling out of the back of the truck. 11 meters. There's about 44 meters of mulch here, which, believe it or not, it will get used. In fact, if you have a look, I've already done about 5 barrow loads yesterday. The trees were only taken down Wednesday, and I started putting it in here. It's not like an attractive mulch like you'd buy at your garden centre, but it does the job. And this finer palm tree stuff will break down really quickly, and the leaves will, the palm fronds will take a lot longer to break down, but it all does the same thing. But there we go, it's going to go around all the garden beds. So a lot of work to do. And then all the stumps are coming out tomorrow. Today being Sunday, Father's Day. Anyway, let's go. That's typical. He started doing work out the backyard. We'll go around, I'll show you. I'm pretty happy with the way it's turned out. And I'll go through what I've planted. Mango tree in full flower. Have a look how brilliant this is. There's all sorts of pollinators, there's some hoverflies. In fact, this is the most I've ever seen actually. I did see some native bees hovering around. There's these little green fluorescent bees that are pollinating. Lots of ants. There's a bee. I haven't seen many bees, so it's all sort of starting to wake up. And I was expecting lots of bees because next door has a beehive under the cubby. But they all seem to be going to the opposite direction. But you can see all the flowers. It just looks amazing. And funnily enough, the other mango has hardly got any flowers on it. Another big bee up there. And this side here, the flowers here have just gone crazy. Look at that. When I'm at work, riding around the neighbourhood, I've seen some of these mango trees. You can't see any of the leaves. The flowers are all like that over the whole tree. It's amazing. And on top of that, we're getting a heap of new growth as well. Look. New growth with flowers. So I'm hoping with the pruning I've done, look at that branch there, new branches come out, it's just flowers, no leaves on it, nothing. And all these new scented ones. I'm thinking of getting rid of every branch except this one, and then the two that come out of here, and then starting again. Anyway, here we go. The new veggie patch. And as you can tell, I did plant a long time ago, but I wanted to get it a bit established before I did a video. And I've also had a few messages actually about the towers that I've had and how they're going. So I think I'll start with showing you the strawberry tower. And we've been harvesting strawberries from this for probably 3 weeks now, I reckon. And we're just getting, I don't know, 8 to 10 strawberries every couple of days. Of course, it needs to establish a lot more, but there's some beautiful strawberries on there. We've had some huge ones as well. They're all doing really well. And the girls have decided to join me. There we go. So there's the strawberry tower doing really well, and also I've also noticed I'm not getting any pests eating these at all. Had some been on the strawberries plant for too long and they sort of started to go overripe, but apart from that, doing really well. And then we've got the lettuce. As you can see, doing extremely well. We've got the cos at the Great Lake, and we've got the spinach at the bottom. And we've harvested most of the spinach, and there's a lot. We're struggling to eat it all because it's just grown so quickly. But again, hardly any insects are on this. Back in Melbourne, these would have been eaten by all sorts of bugs by now. Excuse me. You can see some of these leaves are at the bottom are sort of starting to sort of rot, but that's about it. You can see these inside ones here. I don't know whether there's something actually living underneath this or what. We'll have a look. Peel this back, see if there's nothing living in it. Just a leaf dying. But this Great Lake is the variety they use, I believe, in McDonald's, and the reason is they have a long shelf life, and it tastes beautiful, this one. So we'll go along now. First thing I went and done is plant some flowers just to get some pollinators in here, as you can see, and then sunflower, and other varieties. I just can't remember what they are. I know these big tall white ones are snapdragons, and your marigolds. A couple of varieties of marigold there. And then I've got sunflowers in these pots, which I'll plant around these pots. They're all sunflowers. Got two varieties of sunflower growing. Alright, so, and then of course we've got the lavender. One there, one there, one over in the corner just here. Well, we'll start with this garden bed first. So the first ones here, we got some cabbage. This variety is the drumhead, very tight, compact cabbage, this one. And then over on that frame's just a leftover piece of the pool fencing. I'm growing some snow peas. And then we got some broccoli in here. And these cabbages, no, sorry, I have grown some from seed, which I can't remember where I planted them, but anyway, we got the cabbages here. We got some more lettuce growing in here. So by the time we finish these should be almost ready. These I grew in punnets until they got to about this big, and I planted these a few days ago. And then along here, there's a massive row here and here. That's your celery. I think it's called the Tall Utah, I think, for memory. So we've got a couple of rows growing there. And then we move along, another flower here. That's the flower there. Some more sunflower, and then a small row of carrots this side. And this particular bed is purely for corn. Now I was a bit disappointed because back in Melbourne, just about every corn would germinate. Here, that's not the case. In fact, I've actually, if you look at the smaller ones, I've actually had to sow some more seeds because they hadn't germinated. So the shorter ones are ones I've planted again, but even then, I still didn't get 1, 2, let's have a look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which is a fair bit. Maybe I planted them too early, but the sowing calendar said last month was the time to grow or to sow seeds for corn. That's in August. But the idea is when these corn get probably twice as high as that, you can see at the moment they're that high, I will then put another 25 in here, and the sun coming up this way, they won't get blocked out by the bigger corn. That's raised garden bed number 2. So the garden beds, with the price of timber these days being an absolute joke, I decided instead of using treated pine sleepers, and I know people are going to say, oh, there's arsenic in this. I know there's arsenic in it. It's such a small amount, I understand. But it's just the cheapest alternative at the moment. I wanted the Birdies raised garden beds, but one at about this size, a little bit higher, was going to be about, what was it? Almost 600 bucks, I think, just for one. And I've got 6 at the moment. So the cost was just, nah, couldn't do it. So I've decided to build it with the plinth boards, which is the boards used to build fence, not the fence palings. It's for the plinth board goes at the bottom, and then the fence paling sits on top of that board because it's slightly fatter. And so I went to Bunnings and I got the 5.2 or 5.4 metre lengths and asked them to cut them directly in half. And then I cut some of them in half again for the ends. And then right in the middle, I got another one of these, cut it to the length, and then put it halfway, so it doesn't bow out when you fill it, or even because these will bend and warp a bit, and I'll show you what I mean. You can see how they're sort of warping a bit at the ends there, but cheaper alternative, and it cost a lot less than Birdie's raised garden beds, which I still want, but it's just too expensive at the moment. All right, let's go to the next one. Here's the next one. So we've got another variety of broccoli over here. I'll show you the tag. There it is there, it's a purple sprouting. But when cooked, they will just go, I think they just go back to a normal broccoli colour. And then in here, so I've got a couple more lettuce in here, and then I just direct sow some lettuce here and here. Maybe a spinach and a cos, can't remember. More pollinators. I can see little flies hovering around. And over the back here, I built this trellis arch. Look at this. As you can see, again, trying to cut costs. I could have bought an actual arch. Unfortunately, it wouldn't have fit perfectly in here, and it's only half. It was only this wide. So I just went and bought this cheap trellis, which is designed to go onto a wall and grow like a rose or something up it. I joined 3 of them together and then just staked it, and then planted the beans. So I've got 2 varieties of beans, one on this side and one on this side. This side is the stringless Pioneer, and I bought the seeds from the Diggers Club back in Melbourne. And then on this side we've got the Baby Sun, which I'll weave in and out of this trellis, and it sort of saves a bit of room as well, rather than putting it in the actual garden bed and then not being able to plant anything on one side of it because it won't get any sun. So that's the reason for that anyway. Some more, these have just been sown, so you can see all the new growth coming up here now. Lettuce doesn't take long, and then you can start picking it. I don't take the whole lettuce out either. I come out here, pick, I don't know, 4 or 5 spinach leaves, cos leaves and the Great Lake leaves come in. When they get really big, then I'll just take them out. Alright, and we got around, but go back around to this tag here, and we've got another broccoli here, which is a Waltham, I think it's how you say it, Waltham. There you go. 3 of them there, and I've got them random as well. So that's another broccoli, but a different type. And then I think I just randomly put some in gaps that I had. And then this particular, these are sunflower coming up in between the cabbage here. And this cabbage is the red ball, impressive looking cabbage. Impressive looking cabbage, and they're growing really fast. Really fast. So that's garden bed number 3. We'll go on to garden bed number 4 now. And here we've got a couple of rows of carrot here, and I just directly sowed the seeds into here. And then we got, this is a flower that I've planted here. I think that's another sunflower, but a different variety. The ones in the pot are the giant ones, and then these are a smaller variety. So the 2 more rows, we've got the 1 row over there, and then we've got 2 more rows here. And then I've decided to grow some eggplant this year. Try and find some, I'm not a fan of eggplant, but I'm going to see what I can do in the way of cooking them up, and some recipes on cooking them. So we've got a couple of different varieties here which look pretty spectacular, and then we just got this white one. But we'll see how they go. And there's a couple more randomly planted as well. And then I've put some more lettuce in here as well. And then I can't remember, I think there's a cabbage and a couple more broccolis. And then we got some capsicum, which are just a tiny little capsicum plant. These ones, they don't get much bigger than this. And these were given to me by a fella down the road, which was really nice. And I don't know whether I showed you, but I've got blueberries planted down here. What have we got? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blueberry plants here, which I'll keep at, 4 foot. So garden bed number 4 done. Really happy with the way things have turned out here. Number 5, another cabbage, and this one is the sugar sweet, which is sort of more of a football shaped cabbage. It sort of comes up into a point, and they're growing extremely fast. Actually, you know what I forgot to tell you, I forgot to say that's watermelon on this side, and then there's going to be some rock melon on this side. They'll grow up this trellis as well, or arch. I think that's another snapdragon, just hasn't flowered, I don't know why. All the others have. So there's your other variety of cabbage in there. And then we move over here and we've got just eggplant, broccoli, random strawberry I've put in here. And that's that one done. And of course I've got room here. I've got room in a couple of the garden beds, I think. A couple of spots there. Maybe get 4 or 5 different things in here. But I got some capsicum, squash that I want to get in here as well. And I think, yeah, the rock melon's going to go in here. And then in here we have the cucumber, which is a double yield, and they're growing nicely along here, which I'll thread through this trellis. And on this side we've got pickling cucumbers. Yep, pickling cucumbers, and it's just throwing out its first feelers now, ready to grab onto something. But again, I started these in punnets and only half of them germinated, so I just sowed seeds directly in and got them all to germinate. And then same with this side, that's why you got some bigger ones. In fact, only 30% germinated in the punnets, 100% germinated when I put them directly in. Don't know why. Maybe it's the difference between the potting mix and the soil that I mixed up, which I'll tell you what I've got in the garden beds as the medium. Last one here, pickling cucumbers, marigold, some other flower, I can't remember what it is. Same with that one. A random lettuce, and then onion. Row of brown, row of red. We've got a bee hovering around my beans, which aren't even flowering. Go over to the mango. Alright, beetroot. I'm going to preserve a heap of beetroot this year. I might have an attempt to preserve some cabbage as well. We'll see how that goes. I'm not a fan of preserved cabbage. I kind of more like it in cooking, like in rice dishes and mince, with mince meat and stuff like that. And then over here, I think this was broccoli. Yes, that's the rest of the purple broccoli in here. Oh, and a habanero chili. I want to I'll be growing a lot of tomatoes this year, and I want to try and make some tomato relish. We're going to have hopefully lots of mangoes, so I'm going to try and make a lot of mango and chili relish. So that's the habanero. I figured, oh, and actually I've just noticed the first flower buds. I don't know whether you can see that, but there's a couple there and another one on the top there, so that's a good sign. And then I've got some pots here. We've got some raspberries growing here. Again, these were all in pots for so long because the trees were supposed to be out months ago, but there was a delay through someone being injured, so we ended up having to get someone else to come in and do it, which is why it was only done on Wednesday. But raspberries, and then also these grapes, which have been in these pots for months. I've wanted them out, but again, waiting for the trees to be done. I haven't been able to plant them. There is a position over there on the fence, so that's why. But they're looking pretty healthy, and this one hasn't done anything yet, but I can see some sort of bud swelling here. So we'll get some grapes growing over the other side of the property. So yes, we got the raspberries here, which we were growing in Melbourne, but you really need to put them in pots because they're very invasive. Back in Melbourne, the raspberries started growing out of the holes at the bottom and then coming out, and they were growing in scoria rocks, so they'll grow anywhere. But if you maintain them, look after them, you're going to get some bloody good fruit. Raspberries and blueberries and strawberries. Yum. Grapes. And then the fence will come out. New one will go in, which will be a trellis. And that bird just pooed on my cabbage. We got that on camera. And then I'm going to grow kiwi fruit on that side. So the fence will be about twice as high. And the bath, yeah, I don't know. I was thinking of growing potatoes in it. Not too sure though. Anyway, I'll go over to a nice gap where I can show you the mixture I've got. It's important. I had to let this rest for a few weeks to get the pH level perfect. We'll just take back this mulch, and there are going to be bits of stick in it, but essentially that's my soil. Perfect. It holds together, but then crumbles in your hand extremely easily. So it doesn't hold the water, and it doesn't fall through my fingers like our native soil here, which is sand. Sand. No nutrients in this at all. So what did I use? So first thing I've noticed, and it was the same in Melbourne, nurseries will have, or garden centres will have, a so-called vegetable or raised garden growing mix. I've made the mistake of using it, and I know other people have made the mistake of using it. It is absolutely useless. There's no nutrients in it, and it can get wet and then set like concrete on top, and then you get no water penetration at all. So I went down and got them to mix 2 different varieties of mulch. So one mulch is like the stuff you'd get from the tip, but super fine, and then I got a bark, which was a super fine bark. In fact, this is a piece of it here, and it's like, it looks burnt. It looks like burnt bark, and I mixed that with it, and then I got them to mix cow manure. So what's that? We've got 3 different things. I got them to mix chicken compost, mushroom compost, and then I got them to mix a little bit of their so-called raised garden bed mix, because it has a little bit of sand in it. And then I let that sit for, I reckon it was about 3 weeks, to sort of break down a bit more, to get that pH level at around the 6.5-ish, maybe 7. Because if you don't get it right, excuse me, if you don't get that pH level right, because you've got too much manure or too much compost still breaking down and working, you could end up burning roots, and vegetables start to go backwards, and then they start dying. So I also mixed in some organic chicken pellets and some blood and bone, mixed that in over the top, watered it all in, let it sit for a couple more weeks before I planted my vegetables. And I reckon that I've literally made almost a perfect growing medium, and smells absolutely amazing. And then this mulch on top to sort of retain, because you let the sun hit this and it dries out within half an hour, the top will. So the mulch is a sugarcane mulch, which I just bought from Bunnings, but there's sugarcane fields all around us, and I can get huge round bales for probably the same price as 4 bags from Bunnings. So next time I'll just get a huge bag. It's not as fine as this, but it'll do the job. So there is the vegetable garden tour. I hope you enjoyed it, and don't forget, this is only half of it. There's going to be another 2 just beyond these ones, and then they're going to turn around to be 1 there and 1 there, and then another 2 right at the back, and then over here, so you'll get another one of these here and here, and then we'll turn it around and there'll be a long one here, a long one over the other side of the mango, and 2 more here. And in this area, once this is cleared out, get rid of these bird of paradise. I'm going to put a raised bed in there purely for my asparagus. So a lot more to go. And of course we got the table and chair here to sit at and admire. I'll sit on here and let's sit here with a can and just admire the awesome vegetables and fruit growing. And I'm starting to eat a lot of Panama berries now. The flowers are really starting to pick up now the weather's warmed up heaps. So just like today, look at this. Rained most of the day yesterday, which we needed. We hadn't had any rain for a month, around a month I reckon. So it was good to get get a heap of rain yesterday. It's really helped all the plants and obviously the food forest, because everything has started to come alive. But that's going to be a separate video, and I'll try and make videos more regularly. So I do apologise for those people that might have been waiting for other videos, but as you can see, I've been super busy. I didn't want to do a how to build raised garden beds. I just think they're a bit boring. I'll tell you how I do them. Just old metal stakes I found in the garden. There's no point buying stuff and wasting money when you can salvage stuff. So there it is. The veggies have started. We're starting to become more and more self-sufficient. Still no chooks yet, but they're coming. They'll be coming. It'll be a while yet because I've got a lot of landscaping to do. I'll quickly show you. This video's gone a bit longer than I originally planned, but I'm going to show you. I'll go around the other way because you don't want to see all our clothes hanging on our clothesline. The plan's to have a shade house in here, so I can do all my potting in here. Oh dear, it's warm today. I reckon it is about 20, 23, 24. Here we go, look at the light that comes through here now. Wow. Even when the sun's not actually where the trees are, it's still lighter down here. It's crazy. So, as you can see, all this needs to be cleared out. Alright, look, the camera's overheating again. Good on GoPro. That needs to be fixed on. I hope it's fixed on the 10 because I'll probably get a new one. Anyway, heap of landscaping to do. It's probably going to overheat again. So we'll wrap this up. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Give us one of those. Any comments, leave below. I'll try and get back to you. Alright, see you later. See you in the next video. Bye.